This tutorial is going to talk about the other two ways that we are going to learn about to determine that two triangles are congruent. And I want to review side, 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 and side, angle, side with you before we move on. So I'm going to draw a couple triangles here. So we're going to first review side, side, side. I'm going to do this in red. Remember that in order to do side, 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 this is the easiest one out of all of them. I just have to know that the corresponding sides are congruent. So I have to know that AB is congruent to XY, that BC is congruent to YZ, and that AC is congruent to XZ. So that's how that would look like if I proved this by side, side, side. Now, for side, angle, side, I'm going to do this in blue. Remember that in order for side, angle, side to happen, all three of these need to touch each other. So this angle needs to be right smack dab in the middle and touching both of those two sides. So for example, I could do this side, this angle, and this side. But I could not do something like this. So side, and then angle, and then side. They have to be right next to each other, so that's not going to work. So in order for side, angle, side to be possible, all three parts have to be touching each other. So let's move on to the new ones, angle, side, angle, and angle, angle, side. And I'm going to do angle, side, angle in green. Once again, they must all be touching as much as possible, going in the same direction. So let's say I start with angle C first, and I'm going to move in a counterclockwise direction, a clockwise direction, so like this. So I'm going to go around my triangle. So this would be angle, and then the side would be this side down here, and then the other angle would be right here. So that's an example of angle, side, angle. Let me show you another one. Look at triangle XYZ. I'm going to move in the same direction. You can move it in a counterclockwise direction as well. It doesn't matter as long as you continue to go in the same direction every time. So I'm going to start with Y. Let's say I start here. And then I'm going to do this as my side and this as my other angle. So notice that they're all touching each other, okay? That's how it should look. So let's take a look at an example where this is not true. So let's say, for example, I still start with Y, and then I go to my side, and then I want my angle, but my angle's over here. Well, that's not correct, because that side in the acronym right up here in the title of this tutorial is not directly in between the two angles that it's next to. It should be touching them, and it's not, so that's a problem. What about if I still start with that angle, but this time I choose this as my side and then this as my angle? Well, that's still not following those directions, so that's still false. So the only way that this works is if, like in triangle ABC, if the angle and the side and the angle all touch each other. All right, so let's take a look at our last one, angle, angle, side. And I'm going to do this one in orange. So angle, angle, side, once again I'm going to choose a direction to move in. So this time I'm going to choose counterclockwise. So I'm going to go in this direction for both of these. If you like drawing those arrows at the bottom, you're welcome to do that every single time. That's perfectly fine. If you find them annoying, you don't have to draw them. That's a personal opinion of yours, and you can choose to do whatever you want with that. So angle, angle, side, let's go ahead and choose an angle. I'll choose A. Now, since I'm going in a counterclockwise direction, the next angle from here, if I kept going, I'm going to follow my arrows down here. Okay, so that means I'm going in this direction. So the next angle I would find would be this, and then what I find next should be the side that's touching this. So this is what angle, angle, side looks like. Let's do another one like this, for one that works. So let's say I start with angle Y. And I'm still going in a counterclockwise direction. So that means if I make a circle type deal, my next angle would be right here. So angle, angle, and then side. So when does this not work? Let's take a look at that. Okay, so let's say I start with angle Y again in triangle XYZ, and I do this angle, and then I do X, and then I say this side over here. Once again, this is not correct with the direction that I chose. However, what if I had started with X? If I had started right here and gone in the other direction, a clockwise direction, this is actually correct. So this would be my angle, and then angle up here, and then side. So this really all depends on where you start, but you need to make sure that you're following your rules. So just because it works one way doesn't necessarily mean that it will work the other way. You have to double check both sides. So let's take a look at an example. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through a couple examples just to test your knowledge. So I'm going to draw a couple pieces of notation on these two triangles, and you are going to try to guess how they are congruent. And your options are below: A, B, C, D, or then E is none. So here is number one. So what do you think? The correct answer for number one is B, side, angle, side. If you got that wrong, I want you to take a look back and see if you can figure that one out. Let's take a look at number two. All right, give this one a try. And the correct answer for this one should be C, angle, side, angle. Let's try number three. Okay, try this one. The correct answer for this one is letter D. Now, please make sure that you understand that D works the same way forwards as it does backwards. So angle, angle, side is the same exact thing as side, angle, angle. You can look at that one of two ways. That's perfectly fine. Let's take a look at number four. Try this one. And the answer to this one is E. This is none of the others. If I look carefully at this picture, I have an angle here, and then a side, and then another side. So this actually spells ASS, which we know to be a bad word, and so that means that that's not a possibility. I could show you why this isn't possible, why ASS does not prove triangle congruency, and if you really want to know, come and ask me and I can show you. But just know that if it spells a bad acronym, then it doesn't work. It doesn't prove that triangles are congruent. And just like what I showed you in the example before, if I did ASS backwards, that would give me SSA, and that still does not work because these are partners. And that concludes this tutorial.